All right, we are live on YouTube, and tonight we're going to be discussing President Trump's executive order on social media censorship. So stick around for all of that and much, much more that's coming right live from Northern California. Welcome to another episode of Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. Do all of that and you're gravy. You're good gravy. You're like Thanksgiving Day gravy. Yeah. Excuse me a second here. Had to clear my throat. My throat's a little bit dry. I've been talking too much today. I'm back for a second show. Folks, I just had to do this show tonight before I head off to my weekend. I'm actually going hiking tomorrow, and I'm probably not going to be on YouTube for most, if not all, of the weekend. So I had to get this show in while this topic is hot and while it's very relevant. And I think it's going to be relevant for a little while, but not as long as most people think, because what I share here tonight hopefully is going to make a lot of sense with a lot of people. And I have a feeling this is all going to boil down to what it usually always boils down to, which in my opinion is stupid. It's going to boil down to left versus right. Left versus right. I'm going to start off by saying this here tonight. My opinion regarding this situation has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a slight left liberal. Even if I was a full-blown conservative, I would still have the same opinion, because what happened regarding this executive order per se that Donald Trump issued yesterday towards social media companies regarding censorship is, in my opinion, absolutely preposterous. And in my opinion, after doing all the research, it doesn't hold any water. The only way it'll ever hold water is if Congress gets involved. And, we know what happens when Congress gets involved in these cases, right? It's I'm sorry, I just can't stop laughing about this, because, look, let me just start off by showing you the background here. Let me turn off the chat for a second so you can see it. This whole thing regarding, this social media censorship thing regarding Donald Trump is basically about this. It's about Donald Trump versus Twitter. It's about Donald Trump versus Twitter. Are you a little butthurt, Donnie? Are you butthurt because the terms of service of Twitter doesn't suit your needs? Are you violating the TOS terms of service of Twitter, Donnie? Listen, this is an unbiased opinion. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a liberal, slightly left. Like I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, I like some views on the left and some views on the right. And I can't stand some views on the left, and I also can't stand some views on the right. But in this case, like my title states on my stream, is President Trump abusing his power? Give me a second here. Sorry, hang on a second here, folks. Let me make sure this is all going through before I continue moving on here. All right. Is President Trump abusing his power with his executive order on social media censorship? That's exactly what I think is happening. Now, give me 1 second here. Gotta just check email for a second. Oh, so it's interesting to me. I've got people that are looking out for me behind the scenes. Now they're looking to make Match.com troll accounts to make me think I'm a Greek god. How pathetic are these people? They just won't stop. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because let me tell you something. The right woman will be all good. And I don't waste time with people that are fake accounts on Match. There are plenty of fake accounts on Match, and I know how to decipher them. But that's just absolutely ridiculous here. And I want to check one thing out here real quick. Let's see here. Give me just 1 second here, folks. I apologize. Let me see here real quick. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think the okay. I haven't received the email yet. I know that people are out there watching for simulcasts. They'll be sending me a link very soon. I'm sure that, the same dude is simulcasting me again. But I'll just wait for the email and then I'll go ahead and just, take him down again. All right. So, hey, Stephanie Ellis, a.k.a. Super Steph, is in the house. How you doing, Stephanie? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. How's it going tonight? You ready for the weekend? And my apologies to you as well, since you're a member. I didn't get a chance to create a members-only video earlier today, but I may get one tomorrow before I leave to go hiking. If not, they'll be back on Monday. I'll have a full week of members-only videos coming next week. So my apologies that I missed a couple this week. And Muttnuts Review says, I am here listening and working on my show notes for a challenge video a fellow YouTuber has started called the So What Challenge. And Muttnuts Review says, hey, sissy. All right. I need to just check one more thing here. And then we're going to get right into this because I'm going to be reading a CNN article regarding this. I mean, I know exactly what happened. I've seen many news clips on this. I've heard many opinions of this. And it's just absolutely preposterous. It's just freaking preposterous to me. So, anyway. My apologies, folks. I'm just getting a lot of emails right now. Okay. All right. So do I feel President Trump is abusing his power regarding this? Kind of, sort of. I think more so Trump is butthurt that, Twitter stated publicly that, one of his tweets, was basically pretty much borderline violating their terms of service. And I guess they added some note below it, and Trump wasn't too happy about it. Now, Mr. Trump, President Trump, I know you're not watching my stream. You're too busy of a guy. But, sir, do you feel just because you're the president of the United States, the POTUS, P-O-T-U-S, president of the United States, that you are immune to the terms of service of social media platforms? You know, the ironic thing to me is this again. The ironic thing to me is that Donald Trump, again, this has nothing to do with me being a liberal. This is an unbiased opinion. In my opinion, Donald Trump is one of the most unprofessional presidents we've ever had. Now, has he done some things to move our country forward? Sure. Has he done some things that weren't that great? Sure. But what president hasn't done both those things? All presidents, regardless of who they are or have been, have done good and bad things, right? Right and wrong things, right? I'm not holding that against Trump. The only issue I really have with Trump is the way he carries himself. His attitude, in my opinion, is horrible, and it's very unprofessional for someone that is the commander-in-chief of our country. That is my biggest problem with Donald Trump, right? And he thinks because, you know, he's this powerful, successful billionaire entrepreneur that he has control over companies and control. He thinks because he's the president of the U.S., he has control over the entire country. I think he lets it get to his head. All right, give me 1 second. I got to get back to a text message here. See, people are messaging me, and if I don't respond to some people, they'll go nuts. Okay. So, again, to start off before I get this blog here, in my opinion, President Trump is kind of sort of abusing his power. He's more so whining and complaining like a little female dog. And, you know, he's just a little butthurt because, you know, Twitter slapped him on the wrist on 1 or 2 of his tweets. I mean, President Trump, why can't you say the same things in more professional ways? You can say the same things with different verbiage and come off more professional, such as any president would normally do so. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get over to this blog here because I don't plan on being on too terribly long tonight. I do want to get some rest before I take my long 8 to 10 mile hike tomorrow. So let's switch over to the browser source. And the title up top is kind of cropped out because the rest of the blog is actually perfectly aligned. But the title of this is a CNN article that was written yesterday, May 28th, 2020 at 9:22 p.m. Eastern, which was 6:22 p.m. Eastern time, so about 26 hours ago. The title is Trump Signs Executive Order Targeting Social Media Companies by Brian Fung, Ryan Nobles, and Kevin Liptak from CNN. Look at that face right there. Oh, does that look like a happy president? He looks angry all the time. Like he's always angry. I've never seen any president in the history of our country always appear angry like Donald Trump. Why, President Trump, why can't you ever smile and come off as happy? I don't get that. It's an honest question. Washington, CNN, President Donald Trump signed an executive order targeting social media companies on Thursday, days after Twitter called 2 of his tweets potentially misleading. President Donald Trump signed an executive order targeting social media companies on Thursday, days after Twitter called 2 of his tweets potentially misleading. Sounds very, very right-wingish to me in the ways a lot of middle-aged right-wingers react to things. They overreact. They get butthurt. So, you know, they will do whatever it takes to get back at whoever butthurt them. In this case, it's Twitter, right? And because it so happens to be the president of the U.S., that, you know, Twitter, you know, was saying that his tweets were potentially misleading, he had to flex his muscle of being the president. And I'm Donald Trump. I'm multi-billionaire Donald Trump. And I'm the POTUS, the president of the United States. And you're not going to mess with me, Twitter. So if you're going to try to silence me for violating your terms of service, which I actually did, I'm going to abuse my power to get back at you. That's my opinion. This is preposterous. It's absolutely preposterous. I don't believe anything we're seeing it. Queen, CNN is not the only one saying this. This is what happened, Queen. Donald Trump got butthurt because Twitter said 2 of his tweets were potentially misleading, and they kind of were. Donald Trump pushes the boundaries. Like, listen, I don't have a problem with Donald saying whatever he wants to say, but he should at least say it a little bit more professionally, right? Kind of like our trolls and haters, right, Queen? It's not what they say, it's how they say it, right? Melas Reviews. This video is a way for me to come out of my shell and for people to learn more about me. Okay, awesome. Great. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Mutt. Mutt says, I had to kind of say it this way, but to me, he always looks like he's constipated. Just saying. He does look like he's always constipated, Mutt. Like, look, I'm not trying to criticize the president, right? Listen, I'm being very objective here. I'm being very neutral about this. I'm not coming from a liberal standpoint or a conservative standpoint. I'm coming from a neutral standpoint and saying that, look, any president, even if Barack Obama did this same stuff, and I did vote for Barack because I am a liberal, I actually did like Barack, okay? Even if Barack Obama did this exact same thing that President Trump did, I'd be out here doing the same thing right now, calling him out. This has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a slight left liberal or Trump is a conservative. This is just abuse of power, in my opinion. It's dumb because it's not going to hold any water. What is this executive order going to do? Nothing. It's going to do nothing. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't hold water unless Congress forces it to hold water. This is all a big show and dance for Donald Trump in an election year. That's all it is. It's an election ploy. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. He should just try a little bit of prune juice. It may help, says Muttnuts. I agree with you. Muttnuts, are you a slight left liberal? You must be a little bit liberal or maybe independent or, down the middle. Maybe libertarian or something like that, right? Anyway, let's continue. And Queen, I'm not trying to upset you. I know you're a little bit slightly more to the right. I'm not. I like how you express yourself, Queen. I really love hearing your views. And we can still be friends at the end of the day. Queen, it's a blessing to have met someone like you because you're slight right, I believe. I'm slight left. And you know what? That's great. We can have some great conversations about this stuff, right? Let's continue. Speaking from the Oval Office ahead of signing the order, Trump said the move was to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history. Gravest dangers? No one's taking away anyone's free speech. I come out here and talk about whatever topic I want to talk about every day. I just present it professionally and maturely. And I don't spew racial slurs. I don't attack people. I don't hate on people. I state my opinions. I disagree with what Trump did. I think it's abuse of power, but I'm not hating on him. I'm not attacking him. I'm stating my opinion professionally and maturely. A small handful of social media monopolies controls a vast portion of all public and private communications in the United States, he claimed. They've had unchecked power to censor, restrict, edit, shape, hide, alter virtually any form of communication between private citizens and large public audiences. Mr. Trump, President Trump, some of the things that you've gone public on should be censored, in my opinion. I can't believe some of the things, sir, that have come out of your mouth representing our wonderful country. It's just my opinion, right? But while I feel you should be censored, no one's censoring you in the mainstream media, and no one's really even censoring you like on YouTube or anything. Now, you're being censored a little bit on Twitter because, you've been active there for a while and they've received many complaints about you. I'm sure you've been flagged many times, sir. And just because you're the president of the United States doesn't mean you're not susceptible to flagging or having your content flagged down. It doesn't mean that you don't have to, follow the terms of service. You don't own these companies, man. You're the president of the U.S. and you have a limited amount of power to make executive decisions or to kind of push things forward. But you alone, sir, are not going to change the way this is done. This was a pathetic attempt to try to get you reelected. That's all it was. This is a pathetic attempt to try to get reelected, right? It's unbelievable. That's just my opinion. The executive order tests the boundaries of the White House's authority. In a long-shot legal bid, it seeks to curtail the power of large social media platforms by reinterpreting a critical 1996 law that shields websites and tech companies from lawsuits. Okay, I understand that. They've been talking about this. It's the difference between being a publisher and not. I can understand that. But legal experts on both the right and the left have raised serious concerns about the proposal. Yeah, it's stupid in my opinion. They say it may be unconstitutional because it risks infringing on the First Amendment rights of private companies and because it attempts to circumvent the two other branches of government. Right. Right. It's never going to get through the other two branches or the two branches of government. It's never going to get through them. Even though they're divided, it's never going to get through them. And the problem that this raises is that it's going to create more hate. It's either going to create more hate than there already is out there, allowing people to speak freely. And if that's the case, it's going to open up these companies to a lot more legal water. They're going to be held more legally liable if that's the case. They're not going to have that protection that they currently have. So what's going to happen? You think they're going to risk that? No. What they're going to do is what YouTube would do is they would cut off creators and only put mainstream media content on there, right? So in essence, it would shut down all the creators and all the creativity. Social media, in my opinion, would no longer exist because everybody would be fighting, everybody would be spewing racial slurs, everybody would be making death threats, everyone would be doing all this stuff that when you do it now, you get shut down. You're not getting censored. You're basically, being punished for violating guidelines, for example, on YouTube. And quite frankly, in my opinion, people that behave that way, I don't want to be around them regardless of what the law or the rules are. I want to be around positive people. We have enough hate in this world. We don't need any more hate in this world. No one's taking away anyone's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want to say, right? Just don't attack people. Don't attack certain races or any race. Don't be hateful with what you present. Just present what you present maturely and professionally, and you're going to be just fine. It's just ridiculous. All because of Twitter upholding their terms of service for the president, who I guess feels he should have special privileges with social media companies solely on the fact that he's the president. Well, I'm glad that Twitter doesn't see it that way. Twitter is moderating Donald J. Trump in the same ways they moderate anyone else. And Donald doesn't like that because he's used to getting his way. He's a rich guy. He can get whatever he wants. He's the president of the U.S. He thinks he can do whatever he wants. That's my opinion, Well, in this case, Donnie, you're not going to get what you want because you don't run Twitter and you don't control Twitter. And there's no way you just signing this executive order is going to change the rules. It has to go through Congress. It's never going to pass. Never. But nice ploy to try to get reelected. It was a pathetic ploy in my opinion, but nice try. That's just my opinion. He should try a little bit of prune juice and may help. Like I already read that. I am an independent, says Mutton Nuts Reviews. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Let me see real quick here. Okay. Trump is trying to steal for himself the power of the courts and Congress to rewrite decades of settled law. said Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, the architect of the legislation that the order seeks to reinterpret. He decides what's legal based on what's in his interest. He's been doing that ever since he's been in office. And you're just noticing that? He decides what's legal based on what's in his interest. Sounds like a typical right-winger type of thing. A lot of right-wingers are like that. No disrespect. That's just what I've seen. Wow. This is just pathetic. The order marks a dramatic escalation by Trump in his war with tech companies as they struggle with the growing problem of misinformation on social media. The president has regularly accused sites of censoring conservative speech. No, Donnie. Mr. President, they're not censoring right-wingers or conservative speech. They're censoring anyone that violates guidelines regardless of their political views. It may just so happen to be, President Trump, that conservatives are more in-your-face type of people when it comes to freedom of speech, and they feel that freedom of speech should include hate speech and vulgar language and attacking people, right? But no, sir, it does not. It does not. And regardless, why would you want to behave that way or be around people that behave that way? Why can't we all just be good, honest, ethical, down-to-earth people, man? There you go. This is why all these conservatives I've been dealing with out here on YouTube love Donald Trump, because they're exactly like him, right? They think that YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites are silencing conservative speech. No, they're not. They're silencing people that are violating the terms of service. There are liberals that have violated the terms of service, and they've been silenced because they deserve to get silenced. And I'm a liberal saying that. This has nothing to do with silencing conservative speech. I'm sick of hearing that. I've never heard any other president in the history of our country speak about things in the ways that Donald J. Trump speaks on things and handles things. I've never seen any president more so look out for himself than the people of the country he's representing. It's pathetic. It's my opinion. He's not getting reelected. Look, I know there are conservative people that like Trump, and I know I'm friends with some of you. I'm still going to be friends with you at the end of the day. I'm just stating my opinion. That's all. That's all I'm doing is stating my opinion. It's an unbiased opinion. I'm not even coming at it from me being a slight left liberal. I'm coming at it from a neutral standpoint. I would feel about this the same way if it was a liberal or Democrat, same thing in office, doing the same thing. This has nothing to do with political party choice. It has to do with what the particular person is currently doing. It just happens to be DJT in this case, Donald J. Trump. It's pathetic. Just pathetic. On Thursday, Trump acknowledged that legal challenges to the order are on the horizon, saying he was sure they'll be doing a lawsuit. I guess it's going to be challenged in court. What is it, he asked. But I think we're going to do very well. Well, Mr. Trump, President Trump, Google, Alphabet Inc., which owns Google, and Google owns YouTube. Let me tell you, one of the biggest companies on the planet. They got way more money than you do, sir. They got plenty of money to battle this. I would love for you, President Trump, to go toe-to-toe in the legal battle with Alphabet Inc., a.k.a. Google, a.k.a. YouTube. Go for it. I'd love to see this. I'd be talking about it every day. I would probably turn this channel temporarily into a political commentary channel. I'm not trying to be rude by saying this. I'm trying to be as professional as possible. But our president sounds like a little whiny female dog. He does. So immature, man. I expect so much more from the commander-in-chief of our country here. The greatest country in the world. Right? The greatest nation, right? This is how you're representing us. Even if I was a conservative, a Republican, right? I'd still feel the same way. The text of the order, which was reviewed by CNN, targets a law known as the Communications Decency Act, Section 230. This is the critical part, folks, Section 230, right? This is what he's trying to change. Section 230 of the legislation provides broad immunity to websites that curate and moderate their own platforms and has been described by legal experts as the 26 words that created the internet. You take away Section 230 and YouTube is done. You won't see me out here streaming anymore or putting out videos. Same thing will probably happen on Facebook. Social media will be done. You take away 230 and it's over. It's going to be too great of a risk for companies allowing people to say whatever the hell they want and assuming all liability for it. What's this guy thinking with his executive order? What are you thinking? Are you trying to destroy the internet? The 26 words that created the internet. I like the way it is. I have no problems with it. I love the way it is. Give me a second here. All right. I just got a link. I just got a simulcasting link, and it's happening again. Folks, I'm going to step away for 5-6 minutes. I'm going to file a DMCA copyright takedown, and I will be back in 5 to 7 minutes or so, and then we will continue with this. Please do not go anywhere. I've got to take care of this. If you're watching this on the replay, skip forward because we're going to continue talking about this, and it's going to get even better. All right. So hang on here just for 1 second. Let me find some music. Give me a second here. Okay. All right. And we're going to go full screen, and we'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube. It is 11:48 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8:48 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in my neck of the woods. I'm here in the San Francisco Bay Area in Northern California. And I must say, some people will just never, ever learn. You know, I just don't understand how some people can dedicate so much time all day, every day to follow me, simulcast me, and get a group of people that don't like me or my content to watch my content on their simulcast. That doesn't make any sense to me at all, right? It really doesn't. The bottom line is, though, there are so many moles that are giving me links. I just, filed another DMCA copyright takedown notice. I'm going to continue doing that every time until YouTube looks into these accounts and starts to remove these people from the platform. I don't understand what it's going to take. It's pathetic. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. And again, you don't like me. That's fine. I can accept that. And I can move on. Why can't you move on? But if you don't like me, why do you continue watching my content when someone else is simulcasting me? And if you don't like me, why are you simulcasting me to an audience that doesn't like me as well? I don't get it. Don't you have anything better to do? It doesn't make any sense to me. But it is what it is. We got Donald Trump, President Trump, who's trying to rewrite the way social media companies handle censorship, trying to destroy what we've worked so hard to create over the past several decades. This world, folks, in my opinion, and pardon my French, is in a world of shit right now. And at least on my end, I'm trying to do whatever it takes to brighten things up and bring some love and positivity back into this world. But, many people, don't make it easy. And I hate to say it, I'm not trying to attack our president or kick our president down or say anything bad. I'm just saying the way our president's behaving is certainly, in my opinion, not helping out the cause of world peace. I thought, one of the main aspects a president had to have deep within is not only peace within his nation, but world peace. I just don't get it. Anyway, let's get back to this. Let's get back to this blog here and get through it. It's going to get more interesting here. All right. So it argues that the protections hinge mainly on tech platforms operating in good faith, and that social media companies have not. So how else do you expect Facebook, Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social media sites to run their companies? Should they just let everyone do whatever the hell they want to do and destroy the integrity of the platform? Do you want this whole entire planet to be more hateful than it already is? Again, I keep saying this, I keep referring back to this. We already have more hate, more than enough hate in this world. We don't need any more. Doing it this way would basically destroy everything. And even if companies were still willing to assume full liability for allowing you to run your mouth, even with hateful and inappropriate, verbiage, right? Even if they allowed that and they took liability on, it would destroy the platform. It would destroy this world. We would all be fighting all the time and there would be no happiness. Like, the purpose of life to me is about being happy. So why change the way things are? Why not instead, the people that are filled with hate out there learn to love themselves and learn to love other people and learn to present things more properly and professionally instead of in hateful and derogatory ways? In a country that has long cherished the freedom of expression, we cannot allow a limited number of online platforms to handpick the speech that Americans may access and convey on the internet. The order says, They're not doing that. I come out here on my YouTube channel and talk about whatever I want to talk about every day. I've never once had a community guideline strike. I've never had a copyright strike. I've never had a content ID claim. I've never had any issues. You know why? Because I present it professionally and maturely. I don't attack anyone. If I disagree with President Trump, I'm not attacking him. I'm saying, dude, I disagree with you. I think you're being a bit immature. You know, I think you're abusing your power. That's an opinion. I'm not attacking him. I'm not saying any racial slurs. I'm not speaking any vulgar or hate, right? I'm just saying how I feel. I'm stating my opinion. That's freedom of speech. I don't get shut down for that. This has not affected me one way, but it will affect me if this somehow goes through, which is not. There's no way in hell it's going to go through. Congress will never change the rules with 230. This practice is fundamentally un-American and anti-democratic. When large, powerful social media companies censor opinions which they disagree, they exercise a dangerous power. That is totally a conservative viewpoint. No one is censoring opinion. People are censoring hate speech, vulgar language, inappropriate content. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, whenever you want to talk about it. Do it respectfully, professionally, and maturely. Again, I'm talking about the president today, and I think he's pretty pathetic. Nothing wrong with that. I'm stating an opinion. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying he's pathetic, and he's a little bit butthurt over the fact that Twitter pulled some terms of service on him that they had the right to do. And because of that, he's abusing his power, in my opinion, to try to get his way. Because he thinks that they're trying to silence him. No, they're not trying to silence him. They're saying, dude, listen, say what you got to say, but do it within our terms of service. Do it more professionally and maturely, right? Still here, just finishing up my notes for my video. Hope to film it tomorrow and have it posted by Sunday. All right. On Tuesday, Twitter applied a fact check or two of Trump's tweets, including one that claimed without evidence that mail-in ballots would lead to widespread voter fraud. Wow. That triggered the president when he was fact-checked by Twitter. The president in the U.S. should already know his facts and have his facts straight before he makes a public tweet on one of the largest social media platforms on the planet. Trump immediately shot back, accusing the social media giant of censorship and warning that if it continued to offer addendums to his messages, he would use the power of the federal government to rein it in or even shut it down. Whoa, good luck, Trump. You're not going to shut it down. Trump, Mr. President, who in the world do you think you are? Like, in all actuality, I'm beginning to get a little triggered now. I am. This is not who I want representing the great nation I've lived in all my life for 46 years. This is pathetic and immature and preposterous behavior, especially from the commander-in-chief. I'm flabbergasted. Trump immediately shot back, accusing the social media giant of censorship and warning that if it continued to offer addendums to his messages, he would use the power of the federal government to rein it in or even shut it down. Good luck, bro. It's not going to happen. You don't have that kind of power. Why are you trying to abuse your power, man? This is ridiculous. The order accuses social media platforms of invoking inconsistent, irrational, and groundless justifications to censor or otherwise punish American speech here at home. No. It specifically cites Twitter for selectively applying warning labels to certain tweets. It also faults Google for helping the Chinese government surveil its citizens, Twitter for spreading Chinese propaganda, and Facebook for profiting from Chinese advertising. Where is he getting this information from? Has he had the FBI hack into all these platforms? Trump, I think even the FBI doesn't like you, dude. Your own Federal Bureau of Investigation has issues with you, right? I'm at a loss for words. Like this right here, like, look, I've stayed quiet about some of the other things that Trump has done, right? He's done some good things, and he's done some things that I feel are not so good. But this right here hits home for me. This affects my future on the YouTube platform where I want to make my career for the rest of my life. I love this platform, and I love the way it is, and I don't want it to change one bit. This hits home with me. This right now, after over 3 years of this dude being in office as our president, I am now officially triggered by what he's doing. I'm triggered by DJT. Hang on a second here. What the hell? Okay, where did I... Okay, tech companies are pushing back on the order. They should. Facebook and Google said Trump's proposal risks harming the internet and digital economy. Absolutely it does. It's going to destroy it. It would destroy it. It's not going to go through. And he knows it. Trump knows it himself. He just wanted to stir up the controversy pot so that way all eyes are on him in an election year. I'm trying to fight for the conservatives out there. I want to make sure I get all the conservative vote. Later on this year. Yeah. By exposing companies to potential liability for everything that billions of people around the world say, this would penalize companies that choose to allow controversial speech and encourage platforms to censor anything that might offend anyone. Facebook spokesman Andy Stone said in the statement, yeah, it puts them in a rough spot. It puts them in a rough spot. Puts us all in a rough spot. This is not going anywhere. This is a game. This is totally a game. Our platforms have empowered a wide range of people and organizations from across the political spectrum, giving them a voice and new ways to reach their audiences. Google spokeswoman, I can't even talk tonight. Google spokeswoman Riva Sciuto said, undermining Section 230 in this way would hurt America's economy and its global leadership on internet freedom. Absolutely. Absolutely. You make an amendment to 230, you get rid of it, and this is over. Social media as we know it is done. It's over. Now, that may not be a bad thing because then people will actually have to go out there and hang out with people in person again and meet people the traditional way, which that's suffering because of social media, as it is right now. But I actually like social media because using the hybrid of social media and, hanging out with people in person is a great balance. And when you can't hang out with people, or if you move away to another state or another country, right? You can keep in touch with your friends through Facebook, Twitter, Google, YouTube, etc. Twitter said late Thursday that Trump's order is a reactionary and politicized approach to a landmark law. They're absolutely right. I agree with Twitter 100%. But I'll go one step further. It's a ploy to get all eyes on him during an election year. It's a ploy for him to look cool in front of his fellow conservatives, especially one dude that can't stop talking about me that claims to be a right-wing extremist and is happy and supports this change. You see, this dude that supports this change doesn't realize that if this change actually goes through, which it's not, it's going to destroy our opportunities as creators. Because the companies will not take on the liability. Either that, or they'll just silence everything. Right now, there are a lot of things on YouTube that I feel should be silenced that they're choosing not to silence. It is as good as it's going to get right now. Why change it? Trump knows that. This was a ploy. This was him just trying to make some noise, to get all eyes on him during an election year, to look good in front of his fellow conservatives, like he's fighting for the conservatives, right? Well, a good president's going to fight for the entire nation, not just, his political party. That's pathetic. Pathetic way to think. Hashtag Section 230 protects American innovation and freedom of expression, and it is underpinned by democratic values, the company tweeted. Attempts to unilaterally erode it threaten the future of online speech and internet freedoms. I agree. I just said the same thing. Let's move on. A fight Trump wants to have. The move highlights what Trump believes is a fight worth having. In many ways, the latest episode with Twitter feeds Trump's narrative that there are powerful forces in the media aligned against him, and that his is the only voice his supporters can trust. Right. That's what I just said. Right now, this article is just basically reinstating everything I've been saying. This plays right into President Trump's hands, said Jason Miller, the communications director for Trump's 2016 campaign. There we go, election year. It's 2020 now, almost 4 years later. And someone who has been directly involved with Trump's social media strategy. They basically handed him a massive gift. Many of Trump's political allies rushed to his defense on Wednesday. That's why they're called allies. They're going to agree with and believe everything you say regardless. That's what an ally is. They're your biggest fan, even if they don't like what you're doing. So what does that say? How can you validate that? Twitter is engaging in 2020 election interference. No, they're not. They're upholding their guidelines they've always upheld with everyone, not just Donald J. Trump, President Trump. They're treating the president as a user just like they treat anyone else. The president gets no special treatment anywhere. Because if he did, that'd be favoritism. And then people would be ticked off about that and boycott that platform. This is preposterous, man. Ever since I've been on YouTube, I'll tell you, I've learned so much more about the conservative mindset compared to the liberal mindset. And I'm not trying to be critical. I love everyone. But a lot of these right-wing extremists, and I hate, this is just my opinion. I'm just stating my opinion. These are very selfish people. When I do things, I take everyone's feelings into consideration, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, left, right, down the middle. It doesn't matter. Whatever I do each and every day, I think about how it's going to affect everyone, not just people on the left like myself. It's not the way a lot of right-wing extremists think. And that's why a lot of them are getting silenced because they're very hateful people. They're very hateful and bitter people. Now, that's my opinion. I'm not trying to stereotype. That's my opinion, and that's what I've seen out here, not only on YouTube, but now I'm seeing that through our own president and his administration. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. Let me see here. Let me see. They are putting their thumb on the scale, said Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz, a loyal Trump supporter and surrogate during an appearance on the Steve Bannon produced podcast War Room Pandemic. the notion that they would outsource fact-checking to people who have been wrong about everything is an insult. Is the President of the United States immune to the law of the land? No. Is he immune to community guidelines on Twitter? No. Is he immune to community guidelines and copyright guidelines on YouTube? No. If the president started a YouTube channel, and he may have one, I don't know, I could care less. I don't think he has one. But if he started a YouTube channel and then violated someone's copyright and someone filed a DMCA copyright takedown notice on President Donald J. Trump, YouTube would have to take it down by law. What's Donald going to say then? Oh, I'm the president. I can infringe on anyone's copyright if I feel like it, right? I mean, seriously. Is that what it all boils down to? I didn't really want to do this show, folks. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed at how some people are. I just wish everyone would just get along. Doesn't matter what your views are. Just do the right thing. Trump campaign manager Brad Parscale said that his team no longer pays for advertising on Twitter and accused the tech giant of purposefully influencing the election to hurt the president. They didn't do such a thing. They would never do that. And they were happy to take your money as long as you were playing by the rules. But see, what you guys were trying to do is go to Twitter and say, hey, look, we're the White House, right? We are the president's, team here, right? We're the president's administration here, right? And we're not going to tell you this, but we're expecting you to give us special preferential treatment. And because now you're not giving that to us, you're treating us just like any other user or advertiser, now we're going to pull out. And I have to give mad props to Twitter for standing up for what's right here and not being bullied by the Trump administration or Trump himself. Because in essence, in my opinion, Twitter's being bullied by them. That's my opinion. It's not a fact. It's an opinion. That's what I think. I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm stating my opinion right now respectfully, maturely, and professionally. It's my right to do so. But I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just stating how I feel about this. If Donald Trump did the same thing, said what he already says in different words, he wouldn't be in this mess, right? We always knew that Silicon Valley would pull out all the stops to obstruct and interfere with President Trump getting his message through to voters. No, that's not what they're doing. They're upholding the same guidelines they would uphold anyone. They're not trying to silence him. They're trying to tell him, hey, look, you're violating our terms of service just like other regular users have. And just because you're the president does not mean you're immune to the terms of service. God, what part of that don't you understand? This is what triggers me. You don't get special treatment on Twitter because you're the president of the U.S. And then when they fact check you like they would anyone else in the same situation, you got to pull rank. You got to create this executive order, on social media, censorship. We need to stop this, folks. This is ridiculous. We can't have this. Whatever, dude. I'm not even going to mock you, man. It's not even worth my time. Parscale said in the statement, partnering with the biased fake news media fact checkers is only a smokescreen Twitter is using to try to lend their obvious political tactics some false credibility. That is exactly what a right-wing extremist would say, right? That is a butthurt right-wing extremist right there. That's all it is. I didn't get my way. I couldn't buy my way into Twitter. I couldn't go to Twitter and say, we're with the Trump administration, so we are hoping you're going to give us preferential treatment in an unspoken way and let us tweet whatever we want. and unfilter our account. You can still moderate everyone else's accounts as you've been doing, but I'm the president. Just give me a free pass. That's in essence what these people were trying to do. That is pathetic and preposterous. And it's definitely very unethical at the very least. At the very least, it's a very unethical thing. It's an ethical business practice, if not illegal. And when the Trump administration is doing stuff like that, that just chaps my hide. That chaps my hide. The president made the decision to warn Twitter despite the fact that the company and most other prominent social media platforms have allowed him and his associates to peddle unsubstantially conspiracy theories with few constraints. Yeah, have you seen some of the things Trump has put out there? And he's getting butthurt over a few fact checks. They have basically given the guy freedom of reign when they shouldn't have. And one time they fact check him and he gets all butthurt. While Twitter added the fact check to Trump's tweets on mail-in voting, it did not do so on any of his recent tweets, baselessly suggesting MSNBC host Joe Scarborough was somehow involved in the death of a former aide, despite a plea from the aide's widower to take the tweets down. So immature to me. Trump's Twitter habits have been scrutinized for virtually his entire political career because he has a big mouth. But people familiar with his use of the platform describe less of a strategy and more of a mindset as he or an aide taps out messages. Other people inside the administration and even some of Trump's closest advisors are regularly caught off guard by what appears in his feed, if not always surprised. Give me a second here. Just a second, folks. While his messages often have the effect of distracting from an unfortunate headline, people close to the president say it is their impression that he genuinely believes many of the more conspiratorial things he sends, including debunked theories about his predecessor, and that he isn't raising them only in the hopes of diverting attention elsewhere. Yeah. I'm going to leave that one alone. It makes perfect sense. I have nothing to add to that. Let's continue. Trump's top social media advisor, Dan Scavino Jr., was recently elevated to become one of the highest ranking officials in the West Wing. His title, Deputy Chief of Staff for Communications, bellies the fundamental role he plays both in Trump's use of Twitter and in his life generally. Trump trusts Scavino almost unreservedly. Okay, Scavino has worked for the president since before the 2016 campaign when he was a manager at one of Trump's golf clubs. Okay, so you managed one of Trump's golf clubs. Wonderful. Now you're his right-hand man, huh? Scavino is usually the person who locates the internet content, sometimes from fringe sources and often incendiary, that finds its way to Trump's Twitter feed, that finds its way, it was a typo there, to Trump's Twitter feed, though other friends and advisors have suggested tweets and retweets as well. Scavino's West Wing office provides him regular access to the president, as does his near ubiquitous presence on Trump's trips, where he is often seen videotaping or photographing the president. He is believed to be the only other person with access to @real Donald Trump. Okay. That's interesting. Though the mechanics of the account have never been confirmed by the White House. Of course not. Trump's tweet rants have always been controversial, but recently, as the U.S. death toll from the pandemic has approached 100,000, they have become uncomfortable even for some of the president's most prominent supporters, of course. I do think the president should stop tweeting about Joe Scarborough in the middle of a pandemic, said Republican Liz Cheney, a Wyoming Republican. He's the commander-in-chief of this nation, and he is causing great pain to the family of the young woman who died. This is a fellow Republican saying that. Wow. It's just crazy. The guy just can't let off. This guy likes to talk about every little thing, just like some other right-wing extremist I know. Can't stop talking about anything and everything. He'll make content out of anything and everything, and Trump will talk about anything and everything, no matter what. But those who understand the president's social media habits believe it is unlikely that he will change his behavior anytime soon. Miller, who has been present as Trump crafts his tweets, said the president views the platform as an outlet where he can speak directly to supporters. Well, that's what the point of Twitter is. But he should do it with a little more tact. Forget about the guidelines. Have a little tact with your followers or with the people of this nation that are looking up to you to run the greatest nation in the world. It is one of President Trump's superpowers, Miller said. He understood very early on that social media, Twitter in particular, gave him unvarnished access to the American people and his supporters. What Trump maximized was social media's ability to bypass the artificial conversation created by the mainstream media. Now, how long is this? Oh, we're almost done. Okay. How the order would work. Under the order, the Commerce Department would ask the Federal Communications Commission for new regulations clarifying when a company's conduct might violate the good faith provisions of Section 230, potentially making it easier for tech companies to be sued. Give me 1 second here. My throat's a little bit dry. Ah, it's better. It's been very warm out here in the Bay Area lately, so gotta keep hydrated, stay hydrated. Yeah, if they get rid of Section 230, basically tech companies will have a greater liability, and they're gonna pull back. And YouTube will no longer allow creators like me to be on this platform. Everything's going to be contractual, right? Everything's going to be more mainstream media. It's going to kill the independent creator. That's the bottom line. That is consistent with the draft order whose text CNN first reported last summer, and which prompted FCC officials to push back on the plan privately. This debate is an important one. The Federal Communications Commission will carefully review any petition for rulemaking filed with the Department of Commerce, FCC Chairman Ajit Pai said Thursday. The order instructs the Justice Department to consult with state attorneys general on allegations of anti-conservative bias. It bans federal agencies from advertising on platforms that have allegedly violated Section 230's good faith principles. Okay. Finally, the order would direct the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, the organization, the government organization that started the COPPA thing on YouTube, to report on complaints about political bias collected by the White House and to consider bringing lawsuits against companies accused of violating the administration's interpretation of Section 230. The provisions regarding the FTC could raise additional legal questions, as the FTC is an independent agency that does not take orders from the president. The FTC is committed to robust enforcement of consumer protection and competition laws, including with respect to social media platforms and consistent with our jurisdictional authority and constitutional limitations, FTC spokesman Peter Kaplan said Thursday. This story and headline have been updated with additional information about the executive order. Okay, and that's it. So, folks, the bottom line is this, and I'm going to wrap it up, get on out of here, and enjoy the rest of my day. Melas review says it was 86 here where I am in Maryland today. Yeah, it was a little bit hotter than that here in the Bay Area. It's been warm lately. No sound. Oh, shoot. You know what? Oh, my gosh. How long was I was muted for how long? I'm sorry. How long was I muted for? Mutt, can you let me know how long was I muted for? Was it like a minute or two? I don't know how much I said. I muted for a second or so because I had to belch a little bit. I had a burrito earlier, and I spoiled myself today, and so I didn't want that to go through the microphone, and then I forgot to unmute afterwards. So I'll just wait to hear how long was I muted for. Just waiting to hear from you. You can hear me now, okay, right? I would say probably 3 or 4 minutes. All right, folks, I'm really sorry you didn't hear the last 3 or 4 minutes. I was just saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think this whole thing that Donald Trump did yesterday was just a ploy to get reelected. If this whole, 230 thing changes, social media companies like YouTube are probably not going to allow creators like us to do what we do anymore. It's going to be too risky. They're not going to have the legal protection that 230 is giving them. So in essence, we're going to be able to put all the freedom of speech we want out there. We're going to be able to attack people in crazy ways, but then it's going to, open up liability for the platform, where if somebody comes at me, like these people, these people that have been coming at me lately under this new, under, the new thing that Donald Trump's trying to, change here, these people would be allowed to do that. But then I would be allowed to sue the company if they didn't do something to silence these people, right? So in essence, that would destroy the platform from being able to survive and make money the way it's making, and having it a safe space for good creators like me to be on. It would literally destroy the platform. Yeah, every so often, once in a great while, I'm a little bit tired. It's been a long day. Every so often, I'll forget to unmute for a few minutes. My apologies. But yeah, I also was saying that, Donald Trump, I think is just doing it for attention. Twitter fact-checked him. Maybe it triggered him. Maybe it didn't. Maybe he uses it as an excuse to attack Twitter for attention. It's a typical right-wing extremist move from a Caucasian, middle-aged, right-wing extremist. Like Donald Trump is the typical right-wing extremist, middle-aged man. And he's behaving just like the rest of them have, like I've experienced out here on YouTube. So, he's the kind of dude that will take any opportunity to try to get in the spotlight. And all he's trying to do now is get himself reelected any way possible. This is never going to change, folks. This is not going to change. Because if this changes, then social media will be done with. All right, I'm going to get on out of here. I might put out a members-only video tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. If not, I'll be back late Sunday or Monday at the latest with a members-only video. I'll also put out probably a piece of pre-recorded content that day, and also another live stream. With that being said, have yourselves a great weekend, and I'll see you all soon. Have a great one. Bye-bye. We're out. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. We're out. We're out. We're out.